Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? And finally, it's over, or so far it looks like it is. The Electoral Commission has announced its results. Not very much has changed. Sauter is still the big dog in charge of everything. So finally we can start to see what type of government is going to be established over there in Iraq. Sauter is somewhat similar to Trump. He's a nationalist. You see how they made the word nationalist ugly over here in the United States? Yeah, that was planned. White nationalist, my butt. Sauter is a nationalist. What's that mean? Is somebody who believes in and supports his own country before other countries. Yes. As a matter of fact, Sauter fought against the American occupation in Iraq. He was not a big fan of it. He often refuses to talk to a lot of the military leaders. He doesn't want the United States there. He wants them out of his country because he believes they are occupiers. This also puts him at ends with Iran because, like I said, he's a nationalist and he doesn't want Iran's 2 cents in his country either. We're about to find out because Sauter's a hard guy to read. He could be a good guy, he could be a bad guy. I'm curious to see what kind of government he is going to establish, and let's hope that Al-Qademi is a part of it, and they can get back on track or continue what they started. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button, because when you do, it helps us get past the algorithm that YouTube puts on us, and keeps us from being shadow banned. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. The disclaimer here is I'm not a financial advisor, a lawyer, or an accountant. The information that I share with you, I do freely. It is of my own opinion. Hey folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings in their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right. Gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free half ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation. That's right, head on over to Money Metals when you want to buy gold and silver. Keep in mind, if you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. Hey, right now, a special offer for my audiences only. You have a chance to win 100 free American Silver Eagles. That's over $3,000 in value. And all you have to do is enter your email to win. That's it. That's right, there's no obligations to purchase. The link is down below in the description, so head on over there, enter to win. You have between now and December 31st of this year to enter. The only way you can for sure not win 100 silver American Eagles is by not entering at all. So do yourself a favor and enter your email so you have a chance to win. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. As everyone is aware of an alternative website, the link is down below in the description. Over here I post original content as well as other videos that have been banned from YouTube. It costs $3 a month to join for unlimited access, and all proceeds go to finding life's purpose. So come on over there and join us. Beware of scammers. That's right, people posing and pretending to be me. How you can tell us apart is real simple. If you post a comment and I respond, you will see a dark circle around my name. See this? It's either gray or black. I won't be sending you to WhatsApp, and I won't be sending you to Telegram or Telegraph or anything like that, nor would I be asking you for money. From time to time, I will be using material that's considered copywritten. I post this just to show that I am exercising my fair use rights. So, as I said, the election results are in. The Electoral Commission has finished their investigation. And what we see here is it says Shiite framework rejects their final results categorically, which is weird because that's the same group of people that Sauder is with. Huh. And you should expect this coming. Look, the truth of the matter is we're not there. We don't know. We're not involved in the election. But if it's anything like what happened over here, I can understand their pain. So the coordination framework goes on to make statements stating that we categorically reject the results of the current election, as it is become clear and beyond any doubt that the Electoral Commission has prepared the election results in advance at the expense of the will of the Iraqi people. Now they go to lay some interesting things out here, and I did notice this. First of all, when you have the election, if you go back to do an audit and you find out that it's matching the machine 100%, that's a little surprising to me. Maybe it shouldn't be. Usually there's some kind of margin of error, and you hope it's something really small and nothing like we saw in 2020. But if it's just a small margin of error, that should be normal. But these people make a good point, and that is they verbally tell everybody that the machines did not match 100%, but then when they turned in the reports, the commission contradicted with the file of the conformity rates, once it talks about changes in the percentages, and then goes back to confirming the existence of 100% conformity. You can't do that, man. You have to be consistent, especially when you have something as politically charged as this. We want peace there. You don't want no protests. You want stability there. You don't want civil unrest. And if people are relying on you for results and you're kind of wishy-washy, that can cause more problems than it can resolve. Election appears to be over with. I don't know what this is going to amount to. I know they're going to file a lawsuit. I don't know if the courts are going to overturn the election. For me, it's this simple. Whatever the Iraqi people wanted, they should get. Period. Same with any other country. So the framework is going to go ahead and take this to court. I don't know where this is going to go. I know Sauder is already ready to start putting his government together. And he don't care what anybody says. He wants it done a certain way before he's willing to work with people. And I think he's willing to work with some people. But for the most part, I think he's pretty set on what it is he wants in government. And that is you're going to see a nationalist movement happen. He's just going to be focusing on his people and his people only, as it should be. The Minister of Oil calls for the approval of the Sovereign Energy Fund to guarantee the rights of generations. I like this. I know other countries have this. It's when they take a certain percentage of the profits and continue to add the money into this fund, and then they invest this fund into other things, and it makes a lot of money. It's more like, let's say, a nest egg for future generations in case something should happen again, like this pandemic. So the Ministry of Energy called for the approval of a sovereign fund project to financing long-term investment projects in the energy sector, stressing its importance in supporting the national economy and ensuring the rights of future generations. One of the things I like about this fund that they're trying to put together is it should, if the fund gets big enough, it should help keep energy free or close to as free as possible, very cheap for citizens. I like that. You see, this is what gets me about governments. The Ministry of Energy, he chaired a meeting indicating that the project of Sovereign Energy Fund was one of the most important projects that were ever discussed due to its importance and objectives that resolve around achieving justice in the distribution of revenues from oil and gas and how to invest them. Putting together a fund like this to help future generations, I think, is an awesome idea. And if all countries have an opportunity to do it, they should do it. As a matter of fact, the people should demand they do it. So the sovereign fund was talked about before. We know there's other nations that do it. Iraq wants to do this. They're looking for approval to get it done. In this case, it says among those projects, because the money would go to some of these projects, supporting electric and renewable energy projects, investing in projects that aim to create clean, sustainable, environmentally friendly energy, noting that this fund would achieve sustainable development by financing and supporting long-term investment operations in the energy sector. Energy, as well as its importance in achieving flexibility in implementing energy plans and programs, as well as supporting and encouraging projects implemented by non-governmental sectors. right now what they should be doing is any extra money, continue to develop the private sector. They have to get away from oil as much as possible. Oil had been above $80 a barrel, and it's been very beneficial to Iraq. But after we just saw what happened, the oil dropped by 13%. If it dropped like it did in 2020, this would be disastrous for Iraq. So they need to get a crack-a-lack and start developing the private sector as quickly as possible. How does that affect the rate change? My thing is this. I still think it's going to go up in increments. I still think at the very least they can restore it back to the rate it was prior to this earlier devaluing to help the people in Iraq. Look, our time will come. Right now, the people in Iraq, they should come first. They need to get away from depending so much on oil. They really need to develop their private sectors. I like the sovereign fund. I hope they do it. Sauter just said thank you to the Electoral Commission. Of course, nothing's really changed for him. As a matter of fact, I think he gained a seat or two. Now, this is great news. Kuwait confirms receiving $1.47 billion in war compensation from Iraq. They're just about done with this. The National Bank of Kuwait reported Tuesday that Kuwait has received $1.47 billion in war compensations from Iraq. These are one of the things I believe that's holding up the rate change. Kuwait received compensation payments from the United Nations Committee from Iraq for the war amounting to $1.47 billion in April, July, and October of this year. That's awesome. The remaining amount is $629 million. Not bad at all. It's less than half of what they just paid. I think they said this should be done by February, which means all war compensation should be complete. I think there's one country in which they are negotiating on something altogether different, but this really is a huge deal for Iraq, and in my opinion, helps them take another step closer to a bigger rate change when the time comes. This, plus having their sovereignty reinstated, which once the United States is out of there, as a matter of fact, I think it's already done. I think they did pass the 2003 war declaration or whatever that was, that Bush passed. That sucker, I think, was voted, and they've ended it. Iraq should be free to make their own decisions without any interference. Now, we know the United Nations is there babysitting them. We need that to stop whenever Iraq is on their feet. Right now, they're supposed to just be observant, but they keep going back to the United Nations, giving them reports. And then Miss Blassar comes back and tells them what they need to do. See, if you're a sovereign nation, you're making your own decisions. People are not telling you what to do. Iraq and Turkey signed a memorandum of understanding to curb money laundering. This is another step that Iraq needs to take. They're trying to get off the blacklist that's over there in Europe, and I could have swore last year they said they were off. I know they're off the one in the United States, but the one in the UK, I was pretty sure they said they were off that list, but we're finding out they're not. One of the steps is this right here, doing what they can about money smuggling and laundering. So this, again, is another big step. The Central Bank of Iraq announced on Tuesday the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Turkish Mezak regarding suspicious financial operations and money laundering. The bank said in a statement to the news that based on cooperation between the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Office in Iraq and similar units in other countries, the office has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Turkish Financial Information Unit, noting that the memorandum will work on facilitating the exchange of information with the Turkish side regarding suspicious financial operations. Good. Again, another major step. I'm loving this. The elections are done. The United States, I think they said they're going to pull out within 2 weeks. That was last week. So most likely the beginning of the December, you're going to see them pull out of Iraq. They're almost done paying back Kuwait for war compensation. All these are great steps going in the right direction. So this is what I'm talking about, what they should be concerned about. Keep focusing on investing in the private sector. That's the most important thing right now. They need to get away from their oil dependence. Brent oil drops below $71 for the first time in 3 months. Oil prices fell today, Tuesday, as a global Brent mix fell below the level of $71 for the first time in 3 months. This comes amid economic concerns about the impact of the new magical strain. Advisor to the Prime Minister, the 2022 budget is guarded by the surprises and includes appointments. So we're talking about Soleil here. The economic fears about the 2022 budget are due to the pandemic, and all economic tracks and plans are changed by surprises. The 2022 budget is protected for all surprises and is rationally planned, noting that there are laws that obligate appointments and it is certain that the budget includes them. So, according to Soleil, the budget is prepared for any kind of major changes. Something tells me that they're already aware of some that might be coming. If you remember, the World Economic Forum, and I think it was the United Nations, were saying that after the first quarter of 2022, we should see a major drop in demand for oil. Why, gee, how did they know that? Did they know a new variant was coming? Makes you wonder. So there you have it. The audit is done. The results were announced. We're just going to wait for the court to do their thing. In the meantime, Saudi's going to go ahead and start putting his government together, finally. And like I said, the United States should be leaving here within a week. Let's hope we don't see some major terrorist group take over the entire country in 2.2 seconds like we've seen in Afghanistan. Anyways, that's it. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.